Hey guys, happy Saturday. I chose a topic this week, and it is the family in Toronto that's raising their third child genderless, and like what we think about that, and basically just talking about the issue of raising gender and um, I don't know, just that in general. In honor of the gender topic, I'm wearing this shirt. It says Chump. I don't know if you can read that, but I wore this shirt for my fourth grade. I think it was fourth grade. It might have been third grade school picture, and my hair was cut very much like this. And the camera lady, like when I was sitting down on the little bench and I was like all perfect and stuff, she was trying to make me smile, and she said, "Say chicks dig me," and I just started cracking up. It was so funny because she thought I was a boy. And it was hilarious. And I was just going through my basement the other day, and I found this shirt down there, and it still kind of fits. But yeah, I guess just as like a testament to how much of a little boy I was when I was younger, um, I decided to wear it. So, um, I hope that I don't know. I'm worried I'm going to sound super scrambled when I'm talking about this because there's just so many different branches that I want to go onto with this topic, but I'm going to try to stay coherent. So I think that I generally agree with most of the people on the channel. I think that raising a child genderless is going to, like, it almost makes gender a bigger issue. Like, you're forcing that issue on your child and like making them make decisions about it that they might not really understand yet. And it's just like pretty much everyone said, like as soon as they get to school, um, they all the other children there are going to have like a part of their identity that like maybe they won't stick with later on in life. Maybe they'll choose to identify with the opposite gender, but still, like, especially when you're 3, 4, 5 years old, figuring out male and female roles is a huge part of your development. And even if you might not realize what your own gender is, you are categorizing your world like that. So this baby has a mother and a father, and they see their mother and father interact with other people, and they recognize that there's a difference. And um, when they get to school and all of the other children there can identify as one of those things, but they can't, they're going to be lost, I think. And they might not even really understand why they're lost, or maybe they will. I don't remember what it was like to be 5 very well, but I think it's just going to be really confusing, and I think they are going to end up having to get, like, they're going to get forced into either one, unless their parents are really adamant about telling the teachers, like, don't put my child into like gender segregated groups, like playgrounds, in the classroom, like anywhere. Um, but I think ultimately it's inevitable. You can only keep your child away from that for so long. Um, and I just don't know what good it would do. I think that the best that you can do for your child in terms of gender is what they've done with their first 2 kids, which is they know that they are a boy or a girl just because they're referred to as he or she. Um, but other than that, their gender doesn't really have any significance. So, like, in terms of identifying themselves as one of those categories, they can do that because they know he or she. But in terms of like when they go to the toy store, just like what Shane was saying, like it seems if you look at pictures of their first 2 kids, like they don't fit gender stereotypes, and it's very clear that in that family they they weren't taught like girls wear pink and boys wear blue and girls have long hair and boys don't. Like I saw a picture of their son, and he had like braided pigtails and was like running around, and like that's what he wants to do, that's what he likes to look like, and they let him choose. And I think that's the best that you can do for your kid in terms of gender, because I think the point is that you don't want them to be like you don't want them to have like unnecessary boundaries in their life. And yeah, no, I'm shooting my video. Um and sorry if that sounded mean. I was just annoyed because I was like on a rant. And um so yeah, I think that this I don't think it's going to end well. But I also don't really feel like I have much of a right to be like, this is a horrible idea from the parents, because I think it's obvious that this family is thinking about gender issues, and they probably have things in mind or ways that they're going to go about doing this that we don't know yet, or we don't understand their reasoning behind or whatever. So I just think that it would be rude to sit here and be like, this is a horrible idea, because I think, like, it's obvious from their first two kids that they love their kids and they want to raise them without gender boundaries, and I think that's awesome, and I'm sure that they have good intentions with this, and I'm sure that they've thought it out a lot considering this is their child. Um, so I guess I just don't really know. I couldn't find a lot of information on like their comments on the issue. I found a lot of like other people's reports on the issue, but I don't really trust that because you don't, I mean, I trust it, but I don't think that you can get the perspective of like what's going on in the parents' head and why they're doing this. Um, so that's sort of my general opinion on this. I just think as long as a child knows that, or maybe not even knows that they can like transcend between different like gender stereotypes, but doesn't really like isn't taught gender boundaries when they're young, and they like, so they just see it as like a blank slate, and to them gender is just like your pronouns and like what your teacher calls you at school. Like, I think as long as they have that as a foundation and they are raised in an accepting family, that if they do grow up and decide to identify as the other gender, that's not going to be hard for them, because it's not breaking some like deep rule that was developed in their brain as they were growing up of like girls do this and boys do this, and they won't have this like terrifying identity crisis where, you know, they don't, like, they're having a hard time understanding who they are because they don't feel like they're the same as everybody else. um, I think that just growing up in an accepting family, and one that doesn't establish those really strict boundaries for you, will enable a child to do that pretty comfortably later on in life if that is what they decide to do. So that's what I think about the topic. I am really curious to see how this kid turns out. I hope the media follows it um, because I just think it's interesting. But I also think that society's gonna have a tendency to like say, see if this works, then everyone should do it, or if it doesn't work, then no one should do it. And it's like that's not how it is. Like, gender is different for every person. Like, this kid might grow up and be completely happy and make the decision at a young age and not have it really be an issue at school and go about its life, you know? Or it might have a really hard time in school. And I think that it would be different for every child. And I think that's the same with every parenting strategy. Like, it's going to affect every child differently, and there's no way to know what's going to be best for which kid. So you just sort of have to let them communicate to you what they're comfortable with and what, I don't know. I mean, kids are people, and you just need to interact with them the way you would anyone else and try to do what's best for them, I guess. So yeah, this is going to be really long. The question is, news and like media, LGBT media. I do think it's really important to keep up on it. I don't very much because at college I've just like, I don't listen to the radio, I don't watch TV, and I think I get the most information just from knowing a lot of people in the community, and just because Seattle is just such a gay place, but especially Capitol Hill where I live. But there is like Seattle Gay News, and I volunteered at the Lifelong AIDS Alliance, and so I do hear about stuff through that, but I don't like seek it out myself. I do think it's important though, because there's power in numbers, and if there's things that are going on that people are going to be upset about, or that you would maybe be upset about, and then you don't hear about it, and then you can't voice your opinion on it, it kind of decreases the population of the gay community significantly, just because not that many people are informed. So that's what I think about that. I just, like, you can't have a voice if you don't know what's going on, you know? And it's important to have a voice. So that's what I think about that. And yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome weekend, and I hope you're still having a good summer. And yeah, comment, like, dislike, whatever. I'll see you guys next week.